Good evening, amazing people. How are you guys? I pray you are blessed. We are coming again on tonight. We're having an amazing first time home buying seminar. If you watched our first So You Want to Buy a House, then we came back again and our team member Damon gave us an amazing we were in the whole virtual experience. And then we said, oh, we need more. So we are back again on tonight for an amazing conversation as we talk about the first home buying process and what that is and what that looks like and how we'll be able to help you. So, y'all already know why I'm here. Make sure you like, make sure you love, make sure you go ahead and share the content because it's going to be amazing. So, go ahead, put your emojis in the claps. Give us some good claps. I'm going to bring up our amazing team member, Damon, and as well as an amazing guest. Miss Kelly was so amazing at the last. We had to bring her back, y'all. So go ahead and give some emojis in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Damon, but I wanted to be able to welcome you to our home buying seminar. All right, y'all, make sure you share it and let's have an amazing time.
Thank you. Appreciate that introduction. Great as always. Like Ariel said, we did the buyer seminar about 2 weeks ago, and since then we've had phone calls, emails, still about a lot of different questions. So we are back by popular demand. We're going to answer more questions, talk about real estate, talk about home buying, the 10 steps to home buying again. We're going to talk about the finance side. We're going to talk about how to get ready to purchase a home. We're going to talk about putting in offers, inspections, and when we get to the end, we're going to talk to two people who have one just closed on a house and one who's in the process also. So, no further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into finance side with Kelly McClarty, who is the loan originator at Lending Path.
Well, good evening and happy Friday, y'all. It has been a beautiful day. So how do we buy a house? So just so that y'all know, it is never too early to see where you are. I recommend reaching out to a trusted lender, getting your credit pulled, getting some of your credentials and seeing where you are and where you need to be. A perfect example is somebody that I spoke to this morning who said, she had a price point that she wanted to purchase in, and she had a budget in which she wanted to spend. Unfortunately, her budget and her price point were two totally different things. And they were on two different ends of the spectrum. So it's never too early to figure it out. So without further ado, let's get to the next slide and see the different types of mortgages that we have and the stuff that we need to do. So we talked about briefly setting that budget, figuring out where do I really want to be? How can I be able to still have quasi life, right? Go out to dinner and hang out with some friends during the month, but also be able to own my own home and be able to make sure I've got enough money. So you want to work and set a budget. There's a lot of people that can help you. I'm one of those. The other thing we need to do is that debt to income ratio. That is really important. A debt to income ratio is, what are you spending versus what is coming in? We work off gross income in our industry. So to make life easy, for every $1,000, if you make $1,000 a month in gross income, your car payment, credit cards, home payment, and any installment loans couldn't be more than $450 a month. Sometimes you can get as high as $500 a month, but that's the stuff that you really, that's an important thing. So again, if you start early, you get an idea of where you need to be, what can you pay off, and find out what's really important there. So it's never too early. I can't say it enough. Of course, subtract your debts from your income. That's going to help you with your budget, and that's going to help you with your debt to income ratio. Please make sure that you stick questions in the chat because I'm here to help, and I want to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered. And on the next slide, we talk about checking your credit, your reports, and your scores. So that's what I had said earlier. You want to make sure that you get that credit pulled because if you if there's something in there. I mean, I'm working with a nice lady in Colombia, and we went over a credit report, and there was fraud on there. So it's not good. You know, we don't know if we're not paying attention, if we're not doing the Credit Karma, which is not always accurate, by the way. But you know, you want to see what that looks like. Maybe you want to start today looking because your lease is up in October or November. Well, that's great, because maybe there's a couple of things we can do to get your credit score up a little bit. Not because it's bad, but you know, the closer to 760 you are, the better interest rate you're going to get. So if we've got some time and we start early enough, it gives us opportunity to be able to work on that stuff. And I will go over every credit line that you have, whether your credit score is an 800 or whether your credit score is a 450. You know, everybody's the same, and we want to make sure that that's an accurate credit report. Next slide, pretty please. Okay, so here we go. My favorite part. What type of loans do we have? So we'll start with the conventional loan. Your conventional loan is fixed, and there are some arms coming back since COVID. We lost a lot of arms, but they're slowly but surely coming back. Conventional loans is for anybody with 3% to, I don't know, 70% down. You can have a conventional loan with just 3% down. It's for your first-time home buyer. So you could not have owned a home in the past 3 years, but you can get a first-time home. Actually, there is a program where now you can, as long as you just can't own two at the same time. And that loan is a great loan. And it's going to depend on the condition of the home and credit. Okay. So there's a couple things that go into that, and David and I will work together to make sure that we know, that the house is okay for a conventional loan. The other loan we have is an FHA loan. That loan is a little bit more liberal when it comes to your debt to income ratio. It is a requirement of 3.5% down is the minimum down payment. There are more stringent rules, I guess, as far as the house goes. But your credit score can go down to below a 580. If you're below a 580, though, you are required to put 10% down at a minimum. But that is a little bit more lenient, and your credit profile will determine, how much higher or lower in a debt to income ratio you want to be. Our USDA loan is a great loan. It's a 100% financing. There is an income limit, and it goes by household income. So you want to make sure that you meet that criteria. 100% financing, and there's areas in which you can live. Okay, so currently, parts of Somerville and Moncks Corner are really our closest USDA areas right now. I am helping somebody that is purchasing in Moncks Corner right now, and we're doing a USDA loan. And it's great. She doesn't have any down payment, and she can pay for her own closing costs, and she's in great shape. I believe that the family income is $112,000, and it is all an entire household income. So we want to make sure that we pay attention to that. And then last, but certainly not least, is our VA loan. If we have any veterans out there that are listening, you should always inquire about a VA loan. You may not think you want it. You may not think that you can have one. But if we talk about it, we'll know. I spoke to actually a real estate agent a couple of weeks ago who is debating on whether or not they're going to stay or are they going to go. And they wanted to get qualified or pre-qualified or pre-approved. And they didn't think that they could use their VA benefit because they had a bump in their road. Okay. But guess what? That bump is there, but we can still do it. I'm closing a loan right now for somebody who had a bump in the road, and we were able to still get them 100% financing on your VA. VA is a 100% financeable loan unless you have a bump and you have some eligibility that has been used and not restored, but we can go over that if it applies. 100% financing, there is a funding fee. That funding fee will get rolled into the loan. If you are a disabled veteran, no funding fee applies. It's a great, great program. What's most important about all of these programs is if you qualify for one or four of these programs, it's your loan originator's responsibility to give you your options. So you want to make sure that you have some education and that you know your options, because it's not our job to make the decision for you. It's your job. It's our job to help you make the decision. And so, again, lots of programs, lots of ideas, and I'm here to help. Next slide, pretty please. Here's our next. Our next is our pre-approved. I know I keep talking about it. You can never talk about a pre-approval enough. A pre-approval is basically your name, rank, and serial number, right? What's your name? Where do you live? How long have you lived there? Do you rent? Do you pay no rent? Do you own currently? What do you do for a living, right? How long have you been doing that? There's lots of options or ways to get paid. And there's different ways of us calculating your income. So that's really, really important. In my pre-approval process, I don't do pre-qualifications. A pre-qualification is, yes, you told me that this is what you do and this is how much you make and I pulled your credit, great, you're good to go. I do full-fledged pre-approvals. And the reason I do that is because we can make mistakes. And I want to make sure that I'm counting every ounce of income that you make in case we need it. And of course, we want to make sure that, if you tell me that you get paid overtime, that we've got the right history of overtime to be able to count that overtime. So the pre-approval process is a very, very important process. And I will answer any questions that anybody has, and anybody should be happy to answer questions that you have. Finding a real estate agent should be without a doubt after you get pre-approved, or when. We can do it at the same time. I'm getting a question here, and the question is, what is an ARM? An ARM is an adjustable rate mortgage. Okay. They work on the Treasury and on the LIBOR, which are things that we have in our financial world. In a raising rate environment, I don't know how great they are, but it is really important that you get educated on it and that you can tell. And you can make a good decision. I will tell you, you can do a 1-year ARM, a 3-year ARM, 5-year ARM, a 7-year ARM, and a 10-year ARM, generally speaking. So if you feel like you're only here for a few years for whatever reason, and you just want to do that ARM, and you want to do it for 5 years because you're only going to be here for 5 years, it's a great option. The thing about ARMs is sometimes the rates are lower than being in a 30-year fix. And right now they actually are not competitive. I feel like that's going to change because I feel like our environment has to change because we're in crazy times right now. They're not bad times. We've been living in a false rate environment since COVID. When COVID first hit, rates were high like they are now. Higher, right, than when they were. And then when COVID hit, they made a lot of changes and rates just plummeted. And so actually where we are right now, and I know I'm digressing and I apologize, but I know where we are right now is actually in a great place to have a stable economy. It's kind of where rates were a few years back. I remember in 2007, before we knew the crash was coming, people were ecstatic to get something below a 7. So the good news is it's all okay. The bad news is it happened real fast. and so it is what it is, but we'll be okay and we'll get through it. And it's all good. Next slide, please.
Hold on one second. We wanted to pause right here, and so we can get all the couple more financial questions. Yeah,
let's get them
before we get into the other part of it. Was there any more from the audience? Because I do have a few that was emailed to me that I might ask Kelly also.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll go ahead into one of the emails that I got. As far as VA loans, the VA loans, how many times can a VA loan be used And can it also be used for a rental property also? That was one of the
Okay.
questions I got.
So you can use a VA loan multiple times. And when you, generally speaking, when you sell a home, that eligibility will be restored. Okay. Where it gets different is you cannot purchase it for an investment, for investment purposes. However, if you purchased one, and let's say you were, you had one here in Charleston, and then you were deployed, you were transferred and you had to move someplace else, but you wanted to keep Charleston because Charleston's where you wanted to retire, and then rates plummeted, you could actually refinance an investment a property as a primary that was that you use it as an investment property. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's clear as white wine instead of clear as mud, or lemonade. It's so yes, you can use multiple. Now the first usage is 2.3%, and any subsequent use after that is 3.6%. That's your funding fee, and that's based off the purchase price. If you're doing 100%, if you're putting money down, those numbers change.
Good, because you just answered the next question about funding
There you
fees.
go.
That was another email I got. So that was perfect. That was perfect. It was about funding fees, and does it go up with each usage?
Right.
And you just said that. So yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So it doesn't go up with each, but it goes up after the first. So if you're on your fifth purchase, you're going to pay the same as you paid on your second purchase.
Okay, got it. Another question I got on the email was appraisal gap. What's the best way to handle appraisal gap? Let's say that appraisal come back in lower than the purchase price. As far as on the lending side, what's a good way? They want to know what's a good way to handle that situation.
So that's complicating. If we were going with a loan and all you had was enough money for down payment and closing costs, there's not a lot of ways to get around it. Okay. Because you can't borrow more than what the 97% lets you use it. Okay. That's your highest loan to value. If you were putting money down, let's say you were in a perfect world and you were putting 20% down on a conventional loan, then we would have some room, because most people will put 20% down to avoid mortgage insurance. That's a conversation for another day. But we have some ways around that. Then maybe instead of putting 20% down, you put 10% down, and then we buy out the mortgage insurance, or we finance the mortgage insurance into the loan. So if you don't have any money, it's very tricky. If you do have money, there's ways to play with the money to make it work.
Okay. And I got another one. I think this is one of the questions from last time we did it too, but I got it again in the email. As far as money already on hand and in the bank, is there a certain amount that you should try to keep in there, or how does pretty much having money already in the bank process work?
Okay, so having money in the bank is really important. So the money needs to be sourced for 60 days. So what does a source mean? Source means that it needs to be sourceable. Okay. It needs to be in your bank account, or it needs to come from, maybe you're getting a bonus. Maybe you're selling a home, right? And you're getting proceeds from that. Maybe you're getting a big commission check, big overtime. Those are all sourceable funds. Money in your safe is not sourceable. Money in your backyard in a coffee can, buried, is not sourceable. Yes, these things have happened to me. So now I ask the questions. If you have to sell something, let's just say you're selling your, I don't know, you're selling something. You're selling your motorcycle because you want to buy a house. That is sourceable. There's some steps we need to go through to make sure that we're using it properly. But that's sourceable. A gift is sourceable. So I hope that helps. We need to make sure that, and it's really important that it be there for 60 days. Unless, of course, like I said, it's one of those sourceable items. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Like I said, the emails were coming in
Yeah, please
after
keep them
since the
coming. I
last
love
one.
it.
This is another one. You kind of touched on it already, but it's about a gift. Um,
Yep.
so the person who is already in the process of purchasing the home and they're receiving money as a gift towards their closing, as far as down payment. How does
Okay.
that process go, and what needs to be done as far as that?
Sure. So if it is an FHA loan, the giftor needs to supply a 30-day bank statement to show that the funds were in there. Okay. If it is a conventional loan, we just need to see the gift. We don't care if the giftor took a loan out to give it to you, but we have to make sure it was in their bank account. In other words, we don't care where it came from. It just needs to show that it was in their bank account for 30 days. Make sense? If you are getting a gift, I always recommend waiting and having that gift wired directly to the attorney, because it will save a lot of paperwork for you and your giftor. If it's already been deposited, you're fine, not to worry. That's okay. But gifts are a great source, and people are getting them regularly today. You just need to make sure that you provide documentation of the gift.
Okay, so you
I'm
said the
seeing,
wire was better than the check.
I do. Yeah. Wire is better because it's just less
Okay.
paperwork, right? For you, for the buyer, I don't care, right? I'm loaded with paperwork in our job, but for the buyer, then all that has to happen is the buyer just needs to provide, if it's an FHA, provide a bank statement. And then the giftor will just wire the funds directly to the attorney, and it's good to go. You don't have to, if you did it by check, then the giftor would have to show that the check came out of their bank account, and then the buyer needs to show the check going into their bank account, and it just becomes cumbersome, and it's already stressful enough. We don't, if we can avoid getting more bank statements and more documentation from the bank, it just saves a lot of energy on the buyer's point.
Okay.
I have a question here that I am receiving my mom's Social Security. Is this considered income? It is considered income as long as your name is on that check. I have to pay for her living expenses at home, but it comes to my bank account. Does this improve my debt? Yes, and it will improve your debt to income ratio. Absolutely. And we can talk about that if we need, at any point we can schedule something and have a conversation about that.
We have any more finance? Anything more on finance before we move on?
Please keep them coming.
All right, all right. We'll keep it going, and if there is anything finance, we'll definitely jump back into it. I'm gonna definitely
Absolutely.
get to number 5, finding a real estate agent. But I'm gonna touch on pre-approval again too, because it coincides with what I'm about to talk about. That pre-approval right now in this market, with it being a seller's market, that is almost like a key to getting into some showings. Right now, like I say, it's a seller's market, and some sellers, they don't even want to approve a showing unless it's a serious buyer, meaning they have been pre-approved, they've been through the process, meaning they're a serious buyer. So again, in this market, as a seller's market with low inventory, that pre-approval is key. Always get that first. That lets everybody know you're serious and you are pretty much in the game. Then let's get into number 5, finding a real estate agent. I always say find somebody you're comfortable with, somebody you are comfortable with talking to, somebody who's not always going to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Um, that's the key. I think that would be the key. Is definitely find somebody you're comfortable with working with. There should be a good relationship as far as finding homes, sending homes to that real estate agent, and real estate agent sending homes to you. Make sure you communicate everything you're looking for so that real estate agent has a good idea of what you're looking for so they can send you exactly what you are your searching your features and things you want to see. So finding a real estate agent is definitely very important. The main thing there is definitely somebody you're comfortable with or a team that you're comfortable with. If it's not our team here, Holland Homes team, definitely find yourself somebody who you can work with. That's good. Um, let's go next slide. Start your home shopping. Number 6. Like I said, I'm gonna go back to the last 2 points. Starting your home shopping definitely starts with that pre-approval. I'm definitely keep stressing that because, like I said, that's also one of the keys to getting to a lot of showings. Is some clients that still want to go home shopping. In this type of market, it's going to be hard to do unless you have that pre-approved. Because, like I said earlier, a lot of sellers don't want anybody in their home unless they are serious buyers. So start your home shopping. We'll go all the way back to that pre-approval, finding your real estate agent. Finding that real estate agent, I might kick that all the way up to number 1, but because we can definitely help you throughout the entire process. But right for now, it is number 5. But start your home shopping. Start your home shopping by looking at the area you want to be in. Then you break it down to the subdivision you want to be in, and go drive that area, go drive that subdivision at different times also. So you can get used to, so you can see how the traffic is, so you can see how far you are from work. All of these things are practices you want to do before even viewing the home, because you don't want to just go to view the home. You see the home, and then all of a sudden, after you view the home, you don't like the area. So I would definitely say know what area you want to be in, know how far you're from work, know the subdivision, drive that subdivision at different times, high traffic times, and all that good stuff, and then go see the home. That saves a lot of time too. Number 7, making an offer. There's a lot of different parts to making an offer. I'm not going to get into all of them, but I will say buying a home is broken down into 3 different phases. So your first phase is you and that seller agreeing on the price. You agree on the closing date. You agree on the inspection process. Those are the main 3 phases. That's a part of making your offer. And we'll get into number 8. Getting that home inspection is definitely a big one. Even with new construction, which we're also going to talk about later, new construction, I definitely still recommend getting that home inspected. And the reason why is they have their own inspectors that are going to come out, but you got to think about it. Those inspectors that they have there on ground are pretty much in favor of and for and looking out for the the builders. You need an inspector that's fair and impartial, who's just there to do his job and report back to you. When you get these home inspections, that is an upfront cost that you need to think about. Outside of earnest money, outside of down payment, this is still an upfront cost that goes with those 2 home inspections. They usually start around $250. It depends on the size of the house. So I say from $250 and go up from there. It depends on the size of the home, square footage of the home. Something else with home inspections, I always advise that home buyer be there at the time of the inspection. That's your right. You can follow that inspector around and ask 1,000 questions if you want. They expect it and they want it because it's your right. You are buying that inspection and it is yours. Even after the inspection, it's still yours. So far as home inspection, I definitely always advise on that. Got a question. What is earnest money? Kelly, you want to handle that one?
Sorry. Earnest money is something is a part of a loan commitment, right? I mean, part of the commitment to purchase. It is it's money that says, I'm serious about this. Yes, I have a pre-approval and I've done all that stuff. And now, yes, I'm definitely interested in here's how interested I really am. I'm seeing a lot of that at 1% these days, Damon. I don't know if you're seeing that yourself, but it's changing.
I'm about to say the same thing. Usually,
Yeah.
1% of the purchase price,
Yep.
as far as earnest money. A good example I usually use with earnest money is, let's say that seller has in front of them three different offers. Everybody has the same offer except for when it comes to earnest money. Somebody offered earnest money $500. Somebody offered $1,000. Somebody offered $2,000. Kind of look at it that way. So that $2,000 saying, "Hey, I'm serious. This is what I want. Look at my offer." So that's kind of a way to judge your earnest money. Like it's like I said, usually 1%, but it's what you're comfortable with putting down also. So I would definitely put it that way too. Next slide. Is the earnest money part of the loan? Kelly got another one for you.
Sure. The earnest money will be deducted from the home loan and all closing costs. So again, we're going to live in a perfect world for a minute. If you're purchasing $100,000 home and you put $1,000 down and the closing costs are $5,000, then you'll bring 5,000 plus whatever you're putting down less the 1,000, right? So if you're putting $10,000 down and the closing costs are 5,000, that will be $15,000. They'll deduct that 1,000 from there and you'll bring 14. Hope that's clear.
So step number nine, get an appraisal. Getting your appraisal is pretty much what the lender is saying the home is worth and what they will give you on that purchase. It is ordered by the loan officer. Kelly, can you touch on that as far as how appraisals are ordered and how much weight they hold as far as the transaction?
Sure. So generally speaking, appraisals are ordered from the I mean, without a doubt, they are ordered from the mortgage company. And generally speaking, they're about $500 and you pay that upfront. What I like to do is we have the link sent to you guys so you can send it, you can send it directly to the appraiser. I don't need to, when you mean it's finished, it's done, it's, it's taken care of. What that appraisal does is it makes sure that the home is valued at what the bank is lending. The new thing is this appraisal gap, which we talked about. And it's funny because I'm doing a VA loan and the realtor said to me, well, but with a VA loan, I can't waive the appraisal. And I said, well, you can't waive the appraisal on any loan. So anytime you're borrowing money from a bank and you're getting a mortgage, you will have to absolutely have a home appraisal done. So you can waive whatever it comes in at, but you can pay the difference, but you must have a home appraisal.
I'm also add to that with that appraisal, the appraisal gap. That is another point to negotiate. That's when everybody comes back to the negotiating table. Yep. Let's say a good example, I think I used it earlier, that appraisal comes in less than the purchase price. You have an option to either pay that, or you can definitely walk away from the entire transaction itself, because you are under a finance contingency in that transaction. If the bank will not loan you that amount as far as that home, you have a right to walk off from that transaction. Or, like I said, everybody comes back to the table and negotiate. Depending on what the price is, that seller may say, okay, I'll come down to that price and still sell the home. Or they might say, I'll come down half and then you pay the other half to keep the deal going. I will say sometimes at this point in the transaction, you have a little bit leverage because most sellers don't want to go back to the market and do everything all over again. Because at this point, you're probably 45 days in as far as the transaction, and the appraisal is the last thing that needs to happen before you go to closing. So most sellers, some sellers will say, okay, let's just go down and go ahead and get this done, close and over with. But you do have others that say, I'm not going down. I'd rather go back to the market. But the main thing is this is another point where everybody comes back to the negotiating table and we try to hash out the cost as far as if that appraisal came in under the purchase price. Now we'll get into number 10, settlement and closing. This is always the best part, the fun part. You do get that settlement and closing statement. You're supposed to get that 3 days in advance before going to closing. This gives your realtor, yourself, a time to view the itemized documents as far as who pays what comes out, what was paid. Everything is on there as far as money wise. And that's pretty much your closing statement. It tells you everything that happened during the transaction. And like I said, you do get that 3 days out before closing. It gives you a chance to review it. Everybody reviews it, they approve it, and then the next step is that final step is as far as closing. Closing, you get keys, you get garage keys, you get everything, and you leave that closing attorney's office with a smile on your face. And with that being said, like I said, we this was a 10-step process. We just wanted to touch on the 10 steps. There's a lot of different things we can go into as far as the overall process, as far as the financial part, the realtors part, but we just wanted to touch on everything just to get you started and to answer a lot of questions on here. So from this part here, we will introduce two other panel members. We have Jackie Jackson, who is in the Columbia area. She is definitely on the Holland Homes team. And we also have Cassidy Stringer. She's down here in Charleston, South Carolina, with myself. And I also want to introduce two home buyers. Oh, I'm sorry. There's Kelly's information. Definitely take down her information. You have questions, contact her as far as loans, anything. As you see, very knowledgeable, everything as far as loans. We're going to open it up for more questions. We're going to open it up to the entire panel also. And we're also going to talk to two home buyers. We're going to talk to Tavon, who just closed on his home last month. We're going to talk to him about his process and also the one of the path that he took as far as home buying. And we'll also talk to Marcus. He's in the process of buying a home. So this is a good time to ask them questions, and we're going to talk to them about their process also. We'll start out with Tavon, because he definitely took a necessarily different path, but a different way of buying a home. And we'd like ask him to talk about Home Partners of America, the program he went through.
Yeah. Hey, how y'all doing today? But yeah, I went through the program Home Partners of America. Pretty much, they want you to have at least a credit score of 580, no felonies in the last 5 years, no evictions, nothing major on your credit. And what they do is they give you certain locations where they get the homes at, and they give you a 5-year span to make sure that's the home, that's the area that you want to buy your house in. And if it's not, they give you an option to move and do it all over again. So, but every year that you wait, the price of the home goes up, and the monthly cost goes up too. So it's pretty much just pretty much the same steps. You get with a realtor, you do the process, go to the area you want to go to, look for homes, meet up with the realtor. Same process. So I'm from out of state. I live in Maryland. So I purchased a home in Georgia. So I had to go back and forth, and it was kind of a little challenge a little bit because I wasn't right there on hand to actually go and pick out a home. But the homes that we did, like, if we ain't moved fast enough, somebody already had got them. So it was a little challenge, but I pretty much like the program. I think it's a good way to go for as what I dealt with them. I think they're pretty good.
We got a question from you from the audience. Was it a stressful process? How stressful was it for you?
Um,
And the
yeah,
family too, of course.
it was a little stressful because the house that we would pick out, I would already like, oh, imagine us living there. Then a day later, your dreams and hopes shot down. So but you just gotta keep working and stay in there, and something to come through.
Absolutely, absolutely. I said it a couple times already. Kelly said it also. This is a seller's market, low inventory. I know when I take clients out, we're usually in a line to go see different homes. So that tells you right there how the market is as far as showings. Sometimes you don't have a night to think about it. So with me, I always tell my clients have at least have a top three homes that you're thinking about that you want to see. That way we can keep the process going. If that first one you want to put an offer in, you don't get, we go right to the next one. So that's always a good something to think about. Have a at least top three, a rolling top three. That way you can once that first one is gone, you go to the next one, and on the backside you also add another one in. That way you keep that top three going. And we also have bringing Marcus to ask him a couple of questions. He is in the process of getting his home built, so we want to definitely talk to him as far as about um, starting off the process. How did you start off the process, and did you actually start a budget and things that Kelly talked about as far as getting ready to buy a home? How was that process?
Hey, how y'all doing? Well, going into the process, it was it's it was a little struggle because you got a budget as far as your money and everything and stuff like that, as far as the daily income and taking care of daily stuff and home and stuff. But we got approved, and then it goes the next phase of command. It goes to how much we got approved for, then going to the house and picking out a developer, the building and stuff like that, and going through that process. Then we going through the process now of we got approved, the interest rates going up, and so we had to put down a little bit more than we expected, and as far as not locking in the interest rate and stuff like that. But it's a process and all that as far as doing that. But we getting it and it's going everything's still going according to plan and stuff as far as dealing with the builders and everything because it's a shortage on windows and this and that. But you basically gotta balance out your daily and weekly stuff that you go through day by day living on top of still trying to save money for the deposit for the down payment and stuff like that and everything. So basically, you still got to balance out. Me and my wife, we dealing with everything and balancing out stuff and knowing what we got to do and for to look forward to what we got to do to get the house and stuff like that.
Okay, so as far as the process, where are you at in the process now?
Process now we we in the process now. They post we got the approval and everything. Waiting on the builder to finish building, and we got to come to the table with a certain amount and for the rate that being as though it went up, the rate's going up and down, so we had to put a little bit extra more into it.
Okay, we got a question from the audience. What made you want to get your home built?
Basically, what made us want to get a home built because actually we never had a home built, so wanted to see what the process was and everything to see the the structure and the process of how it could be and what's with the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts and stuff like that basically because if you don't get out there and try it you never know what you can do. So
Hmm. Exactly. I could jump in on that also as far as the realtor side angle looking at it. I do have a lot of clients that we've seen so many houses that are not finding anything. Well, I'll take that back. We are finding things, but they're not winning the offers. So that's one of the options that they finally say, well, okay, let's go get something built, which is definitely a good option too. It's still a good option as far as getting a home built, especially if you can't find what you're looking for. There's nothing wrong with getting it built. So um, that's definitely one of the main things. We're going
and
to jump back to
real
Tavon.
quick,
Oh, go ahead.
it definitely has a lot to deal with
Mhm.
too, as far as the credit, your credit, and everything too, because you can have good credit and still end up paying a lot more and stuff too. So, as far as your credit and stuff like that, that plays a big part too. Then though, what you bringing into the income and the household and stuff too. So everything could be real stressful. It's real stressful, but it's gold at the end of the rainbow though.
Absolutely. Got another question from the audience. Is it more money getting your home built? Not necessarily. Um, just like going out and looking at existing homes, it depends on the area. It depends on the timing. So I would say not necessarily. Different areas got different price points, different price ranges. Timing is different as far as existing homes being on the market. Um, I would say the big draw towards new construction and getting your home built is being able to customize your house as far as getting it built. Because when you're getting your home built, there's certain times that they're going to bring you in and say, okay, we need your what do you want as far as picking out maybe the tiles, the backsplash. You can customize your home while it's being built. So that's a big draw, a big attraction towards new construction. Whereas pre-existing homes, some of it is all already there, and most even with pre-existing homes, when you buy that home and you go into it, you're going to customize it. You're going to do different things in there that you're going to make it the way you want to make it anyway. So I would definitely say, is it more money? Not necessarily. It all depends on the area and the timing of the home you want to buy. Hopefully that answers that question. I want to jump back to Tavon and talk about the closing process. How was your closing? I know we talk about getting the closing statements. Um, did you get a chance to see your closing statement at the closing, or how did that process
No,
happen? Being in that program.
no, I didn't get to see the closing or dealt with it. It was just we just had to do the leg work, find a home, and say we want that home, and they dealt with everything else, as far as the paperwork, the closing, off the cost of the home. We had to put a percentage down, so we put the money down for the closing and all that, and they dealt up with all the paperwork, and probably about I want to say about almost a month or half a month or something like that. Um, they let us know when it was done. Well, before they told us when the closing was going to be done, and then after that, it was just you go pick up your keys, and it's over from there.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's different from a traditional closing because, like you said, it's a program. That program, what they do is they go out and purchase the home, and you sign a 1 year lease and you move in, and then you can have a chance to decide what you want to do after that. So that's why his closing was different from a traditional closing. So he didn't really see the closing documents and stuff like that because of the program, which is still a great program, a great way to start out. Um, I would definitely advise looking into that program. After this, if you want more information on that, definitely shoot me an email, text, call me, whatever the case may be. I'll send you the information on that. Uh, do we have any other questions from the panel? Okay, we'll keep it going. Keep it going. No problem at all. Do have another question. This one goes back to Marcus. As far as you getting your home built and different inspections, how many inspections have you gone through so far? Because I do know with getting a home built, you have different times they should be bringing you in for inspections. One is before they put the drywall up, after they put the drywall up, and then you have a final inspection. So, which one are you on, and how did the process look to you also?
Well, I don't know how it is but in Florida, I was told that even though it was a purchase by home, that we had to go. It wasn't no 3 inspections and stuff. So I'm still trying to figure that out and see, is it different criteria in different states, or what the criteria may be. But I know that down here in Florida, being though we said we purchasing a home, they said they don't do the 3 inspections like we should. So I'm still trying to figure that part out, but I'm researching everything and stuff like that too. So
Okay, okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Did were there any more questions from the audience? Okay. Well, if we don't have anything else from the panel, nothing else from the audience, we can go ahead and say final thoughts. This was great as always. We definitely
I got a
I definitely went
question.
through all the questions. Yeah, go ahead.
What makes a loan person not locking the interest rate?
That was one. We're gonna have to get Kelly back in on that. She had to go, unfortunately, but we'll definitely get that one answered. Because as far as the loan locking rates, um,
Uh, this is
from
Dana. I
me
can
as a
answer from my.
realtor,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry, Damon. I could answer it from my perspective when I was buying a house a couple of years ago. The reason why I didn't want to lock the rate was because the rate was changing. It was actually going down. So what I did was I went ahead and looked at the houses that I wanted to look at and not be locked. Because I think at the same time that I was being locked, I was also paying for things like, and I used a VA loan. So I was actually paying for, I think, having my credit run and everything. So with the pre-approval and not locking it in, I had the flexibility when it dropped down to pick the lowest one. That was from my perspective.
So let me ask you something on that also. They didn't. You said they didn't lock it in because they had a chance to go down. What about if it went up? Did the loan officer give any explanation for that?
Well, no, they gave me an option. They said that I could they
Uh,
said that I had the option to either lock it in right then and there or to wait. And when I locked it in, meant that that's when the clock started ticking as far as getting all my paperwork together. And it was I guess it would be a gamble on my part because it could very well have gone up.
okay. Good question. That was a good question. Definitely a good question. Last call. Last call. Let's go around again. Any other questions anybody can think of? Uh, this is definitely not the end of it. If you do have any questions, we can, like I say, email me, call me, whatever the case may be. We'll get your question answered. Um, we'd like to do a part 4. Maybe we need to. It's definitely good talking to new homeowners and one in the process, so you can definitely get a feel for what they went through and things that they're doing and how they got ready to purchase a home and being able to move into their home. So that was definitely good also. And since we don't have any more questions, I will definitely say thank you. We appreciate you joining us, coming out, talking with us, talking real estate with us. That's always, I can talk real estate all day, but I'm not, I'm not going to do that. This was definitely very good to get you started. To no matter where you're at. Notice we didn't really talk about everything specific to South Carolina where I am. That everything was kind of general across the board. Um, from the finance all the way to the closing procedures. Like I said, the new path, Home Partners of America that Tavon talked about, the program he's in. I have information on that also. So contact me on that. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Dana and NexGen.
Thank you so much. We have learned so much, and the new homeowners, Marcus and Tavon. Purchasing a home is one of the biggest investments that we can. That knowledge. So thank you again to the Holland Homes team and to the new homeowners, Tavon and Marcus. Congratulations. That is it for me, and I will turn it over to the hostess with the mostest, our mogul millennial, Ariel.
Oh, thank you so much. We've had an amazing time on here tonight. Make sure you go ahead and share this with a friend. Make sure you have subscribed to our YouTube channel. And because we want to be out here, we're going to be buying homes out here, right? We're making generational moves for the next. So I'm so grateful for you guys. Thank you to each and every one of you that came on tonight. Thank you guys for being our special guest. Thank you to our teammate, Damon, who's absolutely awesome. And so grateful for his wealth of knowledge. Thank you also to Miss Kelly for her amazing wealth of knowledge as well. Until next time, guys, keep on winning, and we'll see you next time. It might be a part 4. You never know, but have a great evening, and we love you guys. Be blessed.